Greetings, gentlemen and ladies. I'm the Crypto Game Snob, and in today's video, well, I'm going to talk a little bit about core cards and the value of those core cards, because here's an interesting thing, right? Let's take a look at Mana Garmer, for example. Mana Garmer, the Moon Hound. This is a card that reached all the way up to $600. This card plummeted when the forge opened, down to $23, and a whole bunch of them started selling at that low price. I picked up a few myself, as you can see. And why is that? Well, that is because this card is potentially massively undervalued at the moment, as are potentially all core cards, potentially, at the moment. And that's what this video is all about. This is wild speculation. Again, guys, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Don't listen to me, not financial advice. But that being said, here's an interesting thing, right? When you look at Mana Garmer, Moonhound, look at how many are minted. Look at how many are actually meteorite quality, right? Or above. Actually, there are no above, because we can't fuse into shiny cards yet, but that's another topic. We have 1,400 Mana Garmers available in total. And this is a powerful card. This was one of the most expensive core cards that there was. Let's take a look at Asterius. Asterius. Is that? Yeah, there we go. Oh, Asterius. Asterius. Okay. Let's take a look at Asterius. All right. Asterius was all the way up to $1,300. One of the most expensive core cards that there was, maybe even the most. It was definitely up there. Okay. Then we had the Forge open, and Asterius dropped all the way down to $40, right? He was feebly, sadly, and pathetically low. Actually, that's going back to the beginning of time. We're looking more at this number here. So yeah, Asterius sold a whole bunch of copies around that $31 mark, and that was a bargain price. Here's the thing. There's not that many Asteriuses. 1,500 of these have been minted. Okay, let's take a look at something like, let's take a look at another legendary card from Genesis. Let's go back to Genesis, and we'll look at a popular legendary card. I'm not even sure which one we're going to look at yet, but we'll pick one out as we go. Let's grab a nice popular legendary card. It doesn't even matter really which one. Something that we all know. Here we go. Anais. This is a popular Genesis card. Now, Anais, or Aeneas, or however the hell you say that. Now, this card actually has 1,800 of these in circulation, right? In total supply. There will never be any more of these. These are fixed and minted and done and sold, and there will be more core cards that can be minted from the Forge. That is true, but there are actually more of these Anais than there are core Mana Garmers, or than there are core Asteriuses, right? So if you take a look around at the Genesis collection or the Trial of the Gods collection, it's kind of the same story, right? Here there's 3,000 Orpheos selling for $88. What's the most expensive? Not in that quality. What's the most expensive? We have Neferu, right? There are 2,700 Neferus, and she sells for $240, right? She's one of the most powerful cards that you can get. Certainly the most expensive card. We have some Chirons, we have some Selenas, we have Herdikiss. All of these, had a very nice sell price, 185, 164, etc. 2,800, 2,900, 2,700 of these exist, right? And I'm getting to a point here, so just bear with me as I circle around to it, because I'm kind of pointing out some things first, and then I'm going to make a point. And that's coming up real soon. Okay, so now let's take a look at our most expensive core chord legendary cards. Right, we have Hector, Prince of Troy. Now Hector made it all the way up to $1,100 before the Forge opened, and he's plummeted down to a piddly little price of $28. Why? Okay, so the reason for that is basically supply and demand, right? So a whole bunch of people minted this. Call it excitement that the Forge is open, and everybody started listing their Hectors. And when you list a card, what you do is you list your card, and you click lowest, and that puts it down a few pennies from the last price, right? And that's basically how you list your card. People list it and they put it down a few pennies. If you scroll through, you can see it's down a few pennies, down a few pennies, down a few pennies, down a few pennies. Every now and then you'll get some cheeky person who's like, you know what, I'm not going to do 77, I want this to sell a little faster, I'm going to do 71. And now the new low is 71. Or for example, somebody comes along and says, you know what, 34 is I don't want to sell for 34, let's do it for 26 and we'll just sell this card super fast, right? And now the new lowest is, 25.9, right? So the next person who lists is at the new lowest. So there's a lot of kind of stuff that goes on like that in terms of how the price can more quickly go down than just a few cents every time a card is listed. But when you go to buy a card, you don't buy the one for 34.04, you buy the one for 34. So everybody has to list a little bit lower, is the point that I'm getting around to. Point is, Forge reopened. Everybody who got excited about that used their free gods tokens to mint some of their cards, put them up for sale at the next lowest price. Drove the price way down. Supply went up, price went down. That being said, intrinsically, this card is one of the most valuable core cards in the game. $1,100 for that when it was trading with less supply available. $1,300 for Asterius Managarmer. Also, like I say, way up there, Deuteria. Anyway, $500. So, the point that I'm circling around to is when we look at the total supply of minted cards in the core, there's not that many. There's even considerably less than there are total supply available for Genesis, for Trial of the Gods. And now, right now, yes, it's true that a lot of players do have these. They probably earned them some way or another. Playing the game, getting them for free. But that being said, I played through a couple hundred levels of the game now, and there are still plenty of cards which I have not gotten for free, right? It takes a long time and a lot of grinding to actually get these cards just for free, just given out as non-minted cards, plain cards, I think they're called. And so you have to imagine that as new players start flocking to the game, as more and more people start playing the game, you have to imagine that the demand for these cards is going to start to kind of go up again, right? And if you look kind of at let's see, even Managarmer, if you look at the 7-day cycle, well, that's not a great example. That's still going down in the 7-day cycle. But what I believe you're going to start seeing, and it is actually up, right? If you look at December the 9th, kind of when the Forge opened, we were at 27, and we are actually up. It's kind of fluctuating right now because we have a bit of a dip overall, I think, in the crypto space in general. But you can see Asterius was back on the rise, right? And then I think we kind of got into this bit of a crypto dip, and things are kind of down all over, right? If you saw one of my previous videos, Demogorgons are an all-time bargain, but you can see Asterius was starting to make its way back up again, right? And that is kind of the case, I think, for all of them. Here we have Hector actually still making his way back up, right? We have Managarmer, who was making his way back up, and then we had a bit of a dip, I think, in the overall crypto market, and he's kind of down at the moment. But the point is that it is my humble opinion, and like I say in all of my videos, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Don't listen to me. This is not financial advice, but in my humble opinion, these core cards are potentially massively undervalued right now, and they're only so cheap right now is because of the fervor and the excitement that kicked in when everybody started minting their cards. When the Forge opened, everybody blew all their free gods tokens, right? Now, is there going to continue to be tons of gods tokens given out as gifts? I don't know. There was a bunch given out for flex rewards, for like older player rewards and stuff like that. There's a bunch of gods tokens that were given out. Everybody had an excess of supply of gods tokens. Well, not everybody. And it is true that as we continue to pay the earn and stuff like that, there will be more gods tokens distribution and that sort of stuff. I have a feeling it will be less so as we go on, as there's more and more players in the game. The marketing needs to become less, right? Giving away gods tokens and doing free events is all marketing, right? Once this game picks up full stride and becomes gains all that steam it's gonna gain, there's no longer as much requirement to pay for marketing, aka give out tokens. Maybe they will still do that. I don't know. Maybe they'll just give out more cards. I don't know. But for now, they're circulating gods tokens into the total supply so that people are vested. They have a staked interest in those god tokens in the game, in playing the games, getting the rewards, fusing the cards. But the point is, at this point, we had a bunch of people with a bunch of gods tokens and a bunch of cards that they've been saving up for years, maybe potentially up to years. This game, is back as old as a couple-ish years, right? A year. But just over 2 years, I think, right? So there was a massive amount of potential cards that had been saved up by the existing player base. The Forged open, and what do we see? Boom, right? Is this going to be the norm? Is there always going to be tons and tons of players that have, a year and a half or 2 years of saved up unminted cards in their inventory? Is there always going to be this big distribution of retrospective rewards given out to old-time players as there's more and more, player base? Is that always going to be the case, where there's this huge amount of supply, and everybody who's actually kind of playing right now already has a lot of these core cards because they're not new players to the game, they've been kicking around for a while? Or is it more likely that as player base grows, as new players discover the game, there's going to be less and less of this initial burst of supply of both God's tokens for minting, and also, the cards that had been building up in inventory for, years? Is it more likely maybe that there's going to become a lot more demand for core cards? Okay, that's the point of this video. My humble opinion is that there's going to become potentially a lot more demand for core cards. When you look at how many are minted, and this is kind of what tipped my curiosity. When you look at how many are actually minted, and I don't know why the hell I don't have Totera yet. That is actually exactly my point. I've played to level 220 now, I think, give or take, and I still haven't gotten a single Totera, right? So you can play the game for a year and still not get everything you need. So you're going to have to come to Token Trove at some point if you're getting super interested in the game and you're a new player and you want to kind of fill out some of the cards you're missing. Either that, or you can play just excessively and eventually grind them all for free. But yeah, that's exactly my point. I still don't have Totera, right? And there's lots of cards that even people have been playing for a long time haven't gotten for free. You're going to have to come and pick them up from Token Trove, from secondary market. The distribution of how many of these are in supply, I have a feeling, is not so excessive that it's going to create massive sell pressure in the market all the time. I think we had massive sell pressure because the Forge opened, because we had a lot of buildup of both God's tokens and cards, but I have a feeling, and I should probably go and buy a bunch of these up at their cheap price before I release this video, but yeah, like, unfortunately I keep spending all my Ethereum on God's cards, and yeah, I've run out of Ethereum. That being said, I have a feeling that what we're looking at right now is an anomaly in the price of core cards, an anomaly that we may never see, because when are we going to have the Forge open again for the first time ever? Well, technically it has happened twice, but I think that this time is actually officially opened for good, right? It's not using the kind of initial flux rewards, blah blah blah, to mint cards and paying Ethereum prices and stuff like they initially did a year and a half ago or whenever it was, before they took that Forge offline because they were developing a better system with Immutable X, etc. So yeah, so what we're probably looking at here is an anomalous dip in the value of core cards that probably is going to, I mean, is it theoretically possible that we could see a Asterius glittering one get back up to $1,300? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's actually, I mean, the card has that kind of value when there's enough people that want it. When there's not enough, let's say, supply of it, there are people that will pay that much money for it. It is that good of a card. There are a number of examples like it. Managarmer, I don't know, is kind of cool, but if they switch that around to 3-4, oh man, this card's going to be hot. Anyway, so that's the point of this video, guys. Whew, that was a bit of a mouthful, and this, like I say, totally wild speculation, and I could be totally wrong, but no, I don't know. I'm highly suspicious that something interesting may happen here with the core cards and the value of them. As time goes on over 2022, drop the mobile game, more and more players discover, more and more players need, certain cards, flock into the secondary markets, and yeah, suddenly the demand goes way up, whoosh, and suddenly that initial burst of supply is no longer an initial burst of supply. All these cheap ones get bought up. Man, that's it. That's all she wrote. Okay, see you guys in the next video.